Hi, I'm Dr. Joe from the Southside Health and Wellness Campus in Oneonta. Thank you for taking some time today to be with me. What I'd like to talk about today is a way to help you reduce cravings and overeating, but not the way that most people have tried to do it through most of their lives. What I'd like to try to do is help encourage people to find ways to do this 1 degree of change at a time. And I'd also like to find a way to help people to not have to do this with willpower only. That is something that each of us has tried for some element of things we want to improve in our lives. We do it for a period of time, and food changes is probably one of the most difficult for people to do. So willpower will only last as long as the motivation outweighing the fatigue and stresses that life throws at us. So when a person becomes tired or stressed out, I find that they will fall back into the habits that they've been used to before. So what I'd like to do is help to develop a plan that would be very, very simple and so slowly implemented that your ability to fight off cravings and to not overeat will just be part of your normal daily living. So let's take a look at why we struggle so much with cravings and overeating. Well, companies spend millions of dollars to basically make food smell, taste, look, and feel a certain way. Now, what do I mean by that? So basically, when you open the bag of something, you just feel that aroma just take over you where you want to devour the whole thing. You could have just eaten a meal, but you're going to have a bag of chips, and now you feel like you've never eaten before in your life. And that whole concept of I bet you can't eat just one takes over, and you feel like you just have to jump right in. And that's a slogan that was used for years by a company to basically have you buy their product. How does it taste? Well, obviously, we want to make things taste as good as we can to sell the product. Only natural. Seasonings and different flavors and stuff to help to improve the quality of the taste, absolutely normal. However, when chemicals are used to try to trick the brain to say, give me more of this food, even when by all other counts, the stretch in the stomach and the brain's normal production of hormones to say, you are full, you don't need any more, and to stop, those are basically bypassed because these chemicals trick the body into wanting more and more of it. 3, the look. Obviously, look is an appealing thing. So when you look at a product and it looks so beautiful and the way it's colored and the texture and everything in it, that would just make us say, hey, I want more of that. So that's appealing to that sense as well. And that's okay if it's done properly, but if a chemical is used to synthetically dye something, then that can be a problem. And lastly would be texture. So texture is, sometimes additives are made to make things crunchier or smoother or to have that specific, firmness to it, whatever it might be that you're eating. And sometimes it's a natural process and other times it's because a chemical has been added. When these chemicals are taken into the body, it causes us to have significant mental changes that would cause us to want for more of that product. So 3 of the top offenders that would be found in so many different foods that I want you to be much more aware of when you're looking at labels would be high fructose corn syrup. Now, many people have heard that this is just not a good thing. However, it remains in so many different foods, it's replacing many of the sugars that we're used to consuming. So secondly, would be monosodium glutamate or MSG. Now for years, people would go to certain restaurants and they would ask for no MSG to be added. And the restaurants, by all accounts, will honor people's request not to eat that thing or to add that thing to the food. However, there's other things in it that contain MSG in sometimes natural and sometimes not so natural ways that they'll add that to the food. And unfortunately, when you read a label, that can be very confusing and it might look like a natural product. For instance, hydrolyzed vegetable protein is another way to call MSG. Now, vegetable protein almost sounds like a good thing. Well, not so good. It causes a lot of stress in the brain and can cause the body to want for more of certain foods. Artificial flavors and colors, by all accounts, they should just sound bad. So if something says artificial colors and flavors and you choose to have that, you have to realize you're just getting chemicals put in your body and those chemicals are not supposed to be consumed by the body anyway. 3 of the top offenders are aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame K. And acesulfame K will also be called acesulfame potassium, which again, we hear potassium is good for us. Maybe it's the same potassium that's in an avocado. It is not, and you should not consume it, and it will cause the body to have a number of different things. One is to cause insulin spikes, often to cause us to have a surge of energy, and to try to process all the sugar we're consuming, which is then followed by a crash, which causes us to want to consume more of a certain food, which can lead to increased cravings. Now, where are some of the most common offenders that we consume of these foods? Well, I believe if a person was to evaluate the top 3 foods that they consume on a daily basis, or quite frequently that they know are not very good for them, that these would be 4 of the worst offenders. But I'd like you to choose 3 of them before the end of this, after you're done watching this video, and figure out which ones are you going to start to try to improve on the quality of your eating. So they can be potato chips, corn chips, pretzels, crackers, okay, often where that texture or that crunch that a person's looking for might be found in that. So the less ingredients that you can find in these foods, the less apt to have those added chemicals and colorings that we're talking about. So these might be 3, but there's a list of hundreds and hundreds of chemical food additives that can be put into foods that you want to try to avoid. Number 2 would be cookies, cakes, snack bars, and that would include protein bars. Now, I've tried almost every protein bar on the planet. I'd like to grab something quick and easy with enough natural energy in it to help sustain me going on through my active day. However, most protein bars are awful. They're just like eating a candy bar, and you have to be really careful trying to avoid consuming them. Ice cream. Now, this is one that we all love. However, ice cream is one of those that you can go and look for, one brand and the other. They might both be vanilla, for instance. And if you flip over the container on the one that might be a natural vanilla and the other one that does not say natural vanilla, one might have a list of 4 or 5 ingredients. That could be cream. It could be sugar, which, yes, sugar is not fantastic for you, but it's a more simple ingredient. It could also have vanilla bean, okay, and that might be it. However, the other one might have a list of 15 ingredients, which still gives you vanilla ice cream, but those additives in it, which might be trying to control the texture or the taste in some way, or the desire for more of it, are going to be messing with your hormones, which will cause you to have a craving for much more of this. So you want to try to avoid that. And then lastly, chocolate or candy. Obviously, everybody likes those occasionally. If you're going to have chocolate, you want one with less overall sugar in it, so the darker the chocolate, the better. And candy, same thing. Look at the ingredients. There are some more natural candies. Obviously, a lot of colorings are going to be in these things, but some companies, especially the organic ones, might use natural colorings and flavorings to give you the flavor that you're looking for. So if you're looking for something that's tasty, look for a more natural alternative. And lastly, what I'd like to do is give you some craving tips, like how to maybe reduce the desire for a craving. I often find that most people have the cravings after a meal, sometimes in the middle of the day, but often at night. That's the one that they really indulge in the most. So what I'd encourage people to do is if you have your dinner and it's been maybe a little bit and then you're planning on having your snack in half an hour afterwards, before you have that snack, I would encourage you to have a full glass of water. Now, I don't typically want people to drink water before they have a meal. However, if they have water before they have a snack, it might actually cause a little bit of a filling effect on the stomach, which would help them to reduce the desire to eat a lot of that food. Second, measure it out. So whatever it is that you're going to have, it could be a bowl of fruit or it could be a cookie or a cracker. If you were to put that into a bowl or something that's measured before you get into tasting it, I think that's a good idea. So if you're gonna have some potato chips, pour some in a bowl, wrap up the bag, put it away, and decide this is all that I'm gonna allow myself to have. So when you go into the room and you really get into that taste and you're having an enjoyable moment, well, you're just going to get to the bottom of the bowl and decide that that's going to be it. However, if you have the bag there, it's a perpetual thing, and unfortunately, when you get to that last one, it means you've killed off the whole bag, and that's going to have much more consequence than if you were to have just a small bowl of that product. And lastly, if you take supplements. I'm a big fan of taking nutritional supplements. However, most people take them early in the morning, and I don't find that the biggest cravings in the day are in the early morning. Your brain is smart enough to know, give me food because I need certain nutrients. Now, many of the foods that we're talking about here don't have a lot of nutrients in it. However, I believe if you were to take one small step and actually take your supplements at the end of the day, maybe before dinner or right with dinner, then as your body gets into digesting that food, and those supplements, you'll find out that basically your brain might say, okay, I have enough of vitamin this and vitamin that and certain minerals, that when you decide to have that sugary craving, say for instance the chocolate, and maybe it's really your body craving magnesium, not an uncommon situation, that it may not need as much of it. So that might help reduce the amount of it that you're going to actually consume. So hopefully this will give you a little idea in terms of how to change your eating habits, and I believe a lot of it has to do with changing your shopping habits, because quite honestly in my home, if I don't have the food at my house, it makes it more difficult for me to eat. However, if I go shopping and buy a whole bunch of different things and my cupboards are full of possibly options, they might smell, taste, look, and feel a certain way, and they're not exactly very healthy for me. When I'm in that state and when I might have a little bit of a craving and I just feel like I want to eat something, maybe I'm bored even, if I don't have a good option there, I'll just go to the bad option. So a lot of it has to do with planning in advance so that when you do your shopping, you've got good choices. So try to use this. Pick out 3 of the worst offenders, whether it be the ice cream that you consume very frequently, the candy, the chocolate, or the cookies, and decide when you're going to go shopping. You're going to go and compare some labels, look at the one with the least amount of ingredients, and make a simple 1 degree of change choice to buy that better option. It might be a little bit more expensive, but I guarantee that it'll help you to eventually cause 1 degree turn into 2 degrees, turn into 3 degrees, because those chemicals won't be telling your brain to consume many, many more of these things, which will cause you to become unhealthy. So thank you for being part of this video today. I hope it helps you in some way. And if you liked what you saw today, please give us a little thumbs up, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.